Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, as you can tell by the title and the thumbnail, I figured that instead of doing something like a Banlist prediction, because it's so impossible to predict what Konami is going to change about a ban list, especially when it comes to Master Duel or Duel Links, I decided, let's just give you a rough guess as to some of the cards that could potentially be changed. So I'm going to just kind of go through all of the cards that I have kind of noticed that could see some sort of change, either in more limitation or less, and just kind of give you a quick explanation as to why. Hopefully this helps. I think doing a prediction list just kind of doesn't do anything. And I mean, a wish list isn't going to change much. I mean, if you've watched my content, you probably have a general idea as to what I would change. So let's quickly hop into this. Starting with Jet Synchron here. This card is used in Hulk stuff. If they don't ban Hulk, this could be the next tuner to be banned. Yeah, that's like the only reason. It also is a one-card Hulk, so there's that. Next we have Gamma. I would imagine that this card goes to 3 instead of to lower. It's not really all that powerful. Yeah, hand traps are nice. This stops like Maxi, Ash Blossom potentially. It's not crazy, but yeah, I could definitely see this coming back to 3. No problem. Next here we have Live Twin Kizakill / Leela. Now this one is more just like, I don't know, Konami kind of sees things in weird ways. And since I'm expecting the ban list to arrive post Duelist Cup, I would imagine that a lot of people, since this is a very popular deck right now, that a lot of people would be playing this in the Duelist Cup. Konami might see that and say, hey, this deck is too powerful, and for some reason hit some of these cards. Do I agree with that? No. But could I see it happening? Yes. Something to keep in mind. This could potentially happen. I don't know what kind of limitation. It'd most likely just be like a slap on the wrist, like limit it to 2 or something like that. So it wouldn't be much. There's that. Night Assailant got an errata, so this one could come back to 3, no problem. Nothing would change. Yeah, that's it. Just nothing would change. So, Night Assailant probably is coming back to 3 on this next list. Very similar to what they did with Red Eyes Darkness Dragon, or Darkness Metal Dragon. It got an errata, and so it came back to 3. Gen X Ally Birdman is, I believe, at 3 in the OCG right now. So, again, I could see this just, like, being mirrored. Even though we have currently some really good level 3 engines, this would be able to facilitate that as well with the Phantom Knights. I could still see this coming off of the list. Or it could just randomly be banned, who knows. I have another Phantom Knights card on here with Silent Boots. This is the most common card. It's a run at 3 in the Phantom Knights decks. So if Phantom Knights were to be hit, this would probably be the card. Altergeist is at 1 for no reason. Or I should say, Multifaker is at 1 for no reason. This could come to 3, no problem. Konami, if they don't forget it, should probably be able to put this to 3. Next, we have Water Enchantress as well as Rite of Aramasir. Not entirely sure if these will be hit in any way or changed, just because they are so new. But given the fact that they were hit prior to them even coming out in the game, there is a chance that Konami says, yeah, they're still too powerful, let's limit them to 1 each like we did in the OCG, which would be a bit of a shame since they are brand new. Moving on, we have a whole bunch of Pendulum cards. I have the Draco Slayer, I have Double Iris, I have, Chronograph, and I have Electromite on here. These are just kind of like generic Pendulum stuff. If Electromite gets banned, these could all be banned. If not, or these could all be unlimited. I would say, if Electromite doesn't get banned, then these could potentially see some bans. Same with Astrograph. Astrograph would also be in there as well. I just didn't put it on here. So yeah, just some sort of Pendulum thing. I don't think that Pendulums are an issue. Again, this is just kind of like Konami may see a change being necessary for Pendulums. Maybe they want to push them more into the meta, but they know Electromite's too oppressing, so maybe they remove Electromite and change some of the other things. Next up, we have Roxy's. This is just a stand-in for any of the Prank Kid normal summons. I don't think Konami is likely to hit the extra deck as much, but even with that being said, I do have some of the extra deck monsters in here as well, with Dodel Dodel Doo and Meow Meow Mew. Currently, Meow Meow is a completely banned in the TCG because even with it limited to 1, Prank Kid Adventure was the best deck there. So, I mean, it's currently at 3 in Prank Kids, and that deck is 100% the best deck. No questions asked. So there you go. Next, I could see more limitations to Tri-Brigade. I don't think anything's coming off of the list. This is most likely just to hit it again. For unknown reasons, I really haven't seen them all that much post even Sword Soul. But at least with Sword Soul out, they were still being played. Now with Adventure out, they're not being played at all. But who knows? Konami could still hit the deck and be like, no, we don't like you. So, again, a potential hit to the Tri-Brigade stuff with... I would imagine Fractal would get hit again, probably limited to 1, or Tenki as well, which I also have on here. Next up, we have a slight hit to the Sword Soul stuff with Ecclesia. I don't know, this is just kind of like, oh, we can hit this while also pre-hitting Branded, even though Branded doesn't play this card. Again, it's something that could potentially happen. Next, we have Thunder Dragon Roar. This is just kind of the weakest of the Thunder Dragons. I don't think Hawk is likely to come off of the list, but Roar is. Next, we have Long One. Again, another hit to the Sword Soul stuff. We also have Emergence on here as well, and a few of the Tenyis. I actually just have Ashana on here because it basically is a placeholder for any of those generic Tenyis that are played. The Ashana, the Vishara, and the Adhara. All 3 of those are very common in a myriad of decks, and so I wouldn't be surprised if some sort of Tenyi hit is coming down the line. Next, we have a few cards to Flunder. We have Ryza. The reason I chose Ryza is because it is a rare. A lot of these choices are because of their lower rarities. I'm not hitting a lot of the higher rarity cards. I don't think that those are likely to come off of, or likely to be banned, unless they are only played at 1 or something like that. Or they're going to be coming off of the list, right? With a few exceptions, obviously. But yeah, Ryza is the likeliest hit from Flunder, and it'd probably just go to 1. Next, we have M-Pen. Again, this is kind of the biggest problematic card, but realistically, this could be any of their summons. M-Pen, Robina, Eaglin. I could even see Scry being hit. I couldn't really see Toucan being hit, but I could see all of the rest of those being hit in some way or another. We also have Protoss on here for the Sword Soul stuff as well. Moving on to the spells, we have Raigeki. This is currently at 3 in the TCG and is doing literally nothing. Like, no one is playing it. I'm playing it because I'm poor, and this card is very cheap. So, there you go. Moving on, we have all 3 of the pots, or sorry, all 4 of the pots that are on here. Pot of Duality, Pot of Desires, Pot of Extravagance, and Pot of Prosperity. Technically, there are more, but these are the 4 that are seeing the most amount of play. I could see one of these being hit, no problem. Especially Pot of Prosperity, since it's already limited to 2, I believe, in the OCG. I don't know why, but it is, so there you go. Next up, we have a hit to the Virtual World stuff with Kowloon. Virtual World is probably one of the best decks of the current format, and that is mostly due to VFD, but I could also see something like Kowloon or Qinglong, or the VFD itself. So those are something that could come up. Next, we have a very annoying Floodgate in Zombie World. Yeah, it's just Zombie World. It's not very used. It's not very common. This is one that is less likely to be hit. But yeah, I could see some sort of limitation, like limited to 1 or something like that, which, again, doesn't really do anything, but, you know, it's there. Next, we have Dragonic Diagram. This one is for True Dracos. I would imagine it goes up in value, and we're more likely to see more of it. This, as well as... well, hold on. Is True Draco Fighter... True Draco... I think Dynamite Knight is... Yeah, it's fully unlimited. It's in the TCG that it's at, too. So, there you go. We have Trickstar Light Stage as well. This card's... it's not going to do anything. Adding a Trickstar just doesn't... It's not enough. It only helps Trickstars at this point. Moving on, we have a hit to Dragon Link. So Dragon Link is another deck that I expect to be really good in the coming future. Very soon. It's like... It was tier 1 as well in the TCG along with Prank Kid. So there's that. Now, this is obviously the OCG meta with things like Max C, so it's not as powerful, but it's still something that can be very strong. So, Boot Sector launch or Quick launch, or what they did in the TCG was they limited Striker Dragon. All three of those I could see potential limitations to. I don't think any of those, well, obviously they're all at 3, so I don't think anything would be unhit. We also have Map on here for the Flunder stuff because, again, it's a rare. It's also one of the best cards to hit in that deck, and they just hit it in the OCG for reasons, I don't know. It's now at 2, so, like, okay, who cares? But yeah, there you go. Next up, we have Infernity Launcher. This one could either be Launcher or Archfiend, one or the other. I don't expect both of them to come off in any way. Probably, like, limit to 2, but that's it. Obviously, Tenki. We have another hit to the Eldritch stuff. This is kind of the only one I could realistically see being hit with Cursed Eldland. This could go to 1. I don't think they'd ever limit the actual Golden Lord. And I don't think any of the other spells and traps are really worth hitting. I guess you could hit Elixir of Scarlet Sanguine. But I think this one is most likely what Konami is going to hit. So it's either this or Elixir. Although I think Elixir is an ultra rare, if I'm not mistaken, right? No, it isn't SR. Next, we have another Fluunderies card with the Unexplored Winds. The reason for this one, it's another one that just, I don't know, it's annoying, so maybe Konami hears our pleas and is like, oh yeah, we'll just hit this card. Although limiting it to 1 doesn't do anything, so there's that. Scapegoat can come to 3, no problem. If Konami remembers, they can put it to 3, it's fine. It's very rarely used, like you can technically use it to make like Shurek. That's it. Super Polymerization, because Branded is coming out soon, I could see this going either way. Genuinely. I could see it going to 1, I could see it being straight up banned, I could see it going to 3. I don't know. This is one that's like very weirdly at 2, and it could go anyway. It depends on what Konami is feeling. Emergency Teleport is a card that should be banned, but will most likely go to 3. Reason being, Konami wants to promote the new Punk cards, and with Deer Note probably coming out relatively soon, probably not in the next pack, but in the one after that one, I would expect Emergency Teleport to also go to 3. It shouldn't. It's a absolutely busted card and should be banned. Next up, we have Called by the Grave. Called by going to 1 would also mirror the TCG, so I could see something like that. However, with that in mind, it would mean that something like Maxi is more common and is going to resolve more often. So it's one of those things where it's like, is Called by going to be limited? Maybe it goes to 3 as well. So who knows? Crossout Designator is currently at 1 in the OCG because it absolutely dumpsters Max C, and specifically Max C. And so a lot of people play it in the OCG, whereas in the TCG it's not really seeing play because we don't have to deal with Max C. Next we have Imperial Order. I'm not going to explain that one. Next up we have Skill Drain. It's a Floodgate. Not going to explain that one. Same with Summon Limit, and same with Vanity's Emptiness. These two I could see going to 1 or to 2, just because they are played in things like Eldritch, and it really slows down decks. Not really fun to play against. As for Vanities and Imperial Order, I could see them being banned. Nothing else. I could not see them going up in order. The last one we have is Fogblade. The reason being, it's another hit to Phantom Knight that they could potentially do. Moving on to the extra deck, we have a few cards coming off of the list, or as I would expect to come off of the list. ABC Buster Dragon. This one could come to 3, no problem. It's at 3 in the TCG, and it's not doing anything, even with the adventure stuff. So there's that. We have Cyframe Lord Omega. Hand Looping. Just, it's not nearly as good anymore. So this card just doesn't do enough. Yeah, it's pretty simple. And then Trishula as well. Again, Hand Looping. It's difficult to make these guys consistently, or I should say, make multiple of them. Sure, ripping a card out of your opponent's hand, going through a combo, that's great. You're most likely not doing that. You're most likely just, like, trying to rip multiple cards out of their hand. Or, I mean, I could technically see this one at, like... No, because, yeah, if it comes to 3... it wouldn't change if you're just making 1 to, like, go into VFD. So yeah, there's that. Next up, we have Baron. Baron is just one of the most common boss monsters, so I could see a ban or limitation to this. Realistically, does it need to? No. Am I expecting this the most? No. It's just another one of those things where it's like, maybe Konami just really doesn't want people to be playing this card in so many decks, and so they just ban it, and they're like, stop. I don't imagine that to happen, since it's not banned in either the TCG nor the OCG. So yeah. Moving on, we have Dryden. Zodiac has popped up in popularity thanks to the adventure stuff. You can go Zodiac into another Zodiac, XZ into Dryden. Dryden, pop a card, or just like sit on Dryden. And then you can also just do the adventure stuff with Dryden and the adventure engine. And then on the following turn, you make Borbo, you attack in, you're happy, you make a big old Zeus. Moving on, we have True King of All Calamities. Not going to explain that one. That one should be... I mean, it's the very fun dragon, right? We also have Monk of the Tenyi on here for other Ashana-related, or Tenyi-related stuff. I could see a limitation to this, just so that you can't go into so many copies of Monk throughout a game, so it limits the grind game of the Tenyi stuff. This would be a massive hit to regular Tenyi, though, so there's that. Yeah, we have the Striker Dragon, we have the Meow Meow Moo, we have the Doodle Doodle Doo, we have Electromite, and then, of course, we have Crystal and Halqifibrax, Verte Anaconda, and Auroradon. All of these are on the chopping block for a potential ban, just due to the absurd combos that they can all make, right? Halqifibrax can just make a insane board. It's like, if you go into Danglong, you can go into a negate from that, you can go into, like... what is it, like 4 negates or something like that? There's so many different things that you can do off of a Crystron. I swear, you could like steal your opponent's entire house and their car keys and then drive away with both the house and the car keys. Not the car. No. Just the keys in the house. That's how absurd Hulk is. Moving on, we have Verte Anaconda. Make DPE. Yep, crazy, I know. We have Auroradon, who facilitates a lot of the combos with the Halqifibrax. Also... it's just a very solid card that if you make something like a Galaxy Tomahawk, you could go into this as well. Now, okay, let's talk about this last one. Samorg, Bird of Sovereignty, is another hit to Tri-Brigade and Lyralisk. It's banned in the TCG, and it's just an overall annoying card. So, that's the list, or potential cards that I could see hit. There are a few cards on here that I didn't mention. Things like Danglong, things like Grass, things like, what was the other one? Galaxy Tomahawk, and other such powerful boss monsters. Realistically, the reason that they're not on here is simply due to the fact that I don't think Konami is going to touch them. Though they are incredibly powerful, I think that they haven't made enough of a mark to really warrant Konami being like, we need to hit that, right? Whereas a lot of these other things, it's like, oh, these are played in so many decks, right? It's like Galaxy Tomahawk is played in like Galaxy Tomahawk Turbo, and it's absolutely busted. Sure, on the ladder, it's great, but in more than one singular game, it's not very strong. And I don't think Konami is balancing the game for best of ones, though they should, because that's what we play. So, anyway, that's it. That's all I wanted to say. Hopefully this gave you an understanding of what could potentially come up. There are definitely more cards that could just randomly be hit, randomly be unhit. I didn't talk about any of the forbidden cards as well, because realistically, I don't think that there are any that are really worth coming off of the list. For example, like... Cyberjar, I don't know, maybe could. We have Yatagarasu. Yeah, that one is totally fine to come off the list. Is Konami going to allow that with Flunder? So popular. Yeah. You know, there's things like the Cannon Soldier, who could potentially come off of the list. Who knows? We have... there's another one I was thinking of. Oh, any of these Dragon Rulers. Most likely Blaster. Blaster is not... like, the fire type is just the weakest right now. So, there's that. I also didn't talk about Block Dragon because, again, Adamancipator's kind of, like, not really being played. So, I don't think Block Dragon is likely to get hit. And it's not hit in the OCG. So, there you go. Anyway, hope that you guys did indeed enjoy it and that this was helpful. If it was, leave a comment down below telling me maybe a card that I forgot. Maybe a card that... you would like to see hit. Maybe the one card. You know what? Tell me the one card that you would like to see banned. Just one. Anyway, that's going to be it. Hopefully you guys did indeed enjoy it, and remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye.